Test, test, test. I haven't done a live stream in a while. This coloring is awful. Anybody? There we go. I haven't done lighting at this time of day in a while. Okay. Unfinished portrait. Are you still on? Alright. I wish I could get this lighting right. How off is that color? That's a little bit better. Alright. Well, good morning, everybody. Let's see. Do I need to increase the volume? I usually do. Let's see. Properties. Snowball. Settings. Audio. That's not right. It's down here. Advanced auto properties. It's already set at 150. All right. Don't want to mess with it anymore. Okay, let's see who's. All right. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Well, it is morning here in my time zone. Hope everyone is doing well. This week has been a super weird week. Yesterday, of course, was my last day at work, and I guess I was on the fence about if I was going to talk about work stuff, and I think I will. So let's see. I worked with Walmart for 23 years, which is almost half my life. Next year would have been half my life when I hit 24, because I am 47 now. But what I basically did the last 2.5 years was I was on a team called Insights and Design, and we supported the business side of a program that worked with suppliers on the quality of their packaging. I know, riveting, right? But to give you an idea, Walmart tracks absolutely everything. Like, I had a feeling we tracked everything when I was at the warehouse, at the distribution center, where I spent 20 years of my life, and because we tracked everything there. Well, anything that moved or got scanned or got entered had a database table. So everything that came through a distribution center went through a scanner. Well, everything about that package would get scanned. The date, the time, the vendor, the purchase order. If you hear me use the word PO, that's purchase order. Then all sorts of documentation. Now, where it always got exciting was it could go through the same scanner more than once. That's where paying attention to detail became very, very pertinent. But let me get over. I'm on OBS right now. I'm doing good. What do you want to say? Say on Google dismissing the whole Python team. I guess I have not heard anything about that. That is very interesting. The only thing I heard about Google was that they were deemed a uncompetitive monopoly. But I guess I always have a struggle when the government comes in and tells you things like that because Google was competing in a monopoly environment. my thing is just, if you're a good company, you're going to go away and go out of business. And if you're a bad company and you aren't following all the rules, and you don't take care of your people, and you don't take care of your customers, somebody else will. So Google came up because they solved a problem that the big guys, the IBMs, the Microsofts of the time, couldn't figure out, and they solved that problem and hired good people. So my thing is let the marketplace take care of Google. If Google is going to do an awful job, get rid of whole teams. I mean, at the end, about 8 months ago, Walmart did the same thing. They got rid of a whole product team, and they paid for that miserably. So it was the team that took care of the software infrastructure inside of all of the distribution centers. And that became unbelievably challenging for them. And Walmart was paying for that. And I think a couple of VPs got let go. So I'm a huge thing of let the marketplace take care of it, because it's going to be more cruel than any government regulation that could possibly happen. All right. I don't know. I haven't done a live stream, and YouTube has changed quite a few things. I think an ad just showed up. Can you guys let me know in chat if the ad is done? So, all right. What do you guys want to talk about today? Because one of the things that I was making notes at the end of my... Actually, before I do that, how's the audio? Can you guys hear me okay? Is this loud enough? Because what I typically do is I record with this microphone, and then I increase the volume when I use OBS. So, all right. Okay. Okay. Oh, I hope you guys can hear me. So, all right. What do you guys want to hear? Because one thing that I've been learning, and it became unbelievably noticeable this past week, was that knowing the problem that you're fixing is vital. Because I watched members of my larger team trying to get help from members who are going to be taking over projects for me and another teammate. And they were trying to fix a problem that they didn't even understand. So, and I know that sounds so cliche, but, well, let's just talk about it. So it was duplicate rows of data. And so if you are just joining the stream now, you heard me say purchase order earlier at the beginning. So PO. So the SQL language is very interesting to me, and it handles rows and columns, but the way in which you remove data is so interesting, because you can actually use... I thought you just joined tables to bring in complementary data or more data. Oh my goodness. You can use basically join as a filter and filter out data. So it's all matched data, but you have all these tables that Walmart would use, scheduler, appointments, and things like that. So you could have multiple entries of data that could be happening. And if you weren't exactly paying attention to how to handle those rows, you could be completely lost and either have too much data, too little data, or the wrong data. But everybody being on here, Have you guys solved that reverse number triangle problem? Because I know it seems silly, but you'd be surprised about order of operations and how important that is, because you could have something working perfectly in your mind, and it just quite isn't happening the way that you want to. But back to I guess it would have been my last day yesterday. I was finishing up building some new tables for my teammate who is going to be finishing up the project when he comes back from vacation. So we were using Dataiku. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that, but it is a very handy tool. So what we did is our front end application, it was a user form. It took in information from the user and ran database queries to populate these other forms that we had made, and for suppliers, so they could see what their defects were. But I had to make this all on the fly and wasn't able to really do any testing of it. I'm gonna have another ad. Oh my goodness. Apologize everybody. I don't know exactly how this is working. So, but all right. So the Dataiku flows. So we take in user information from the user. We write to an Azure table. Then what we do is we use Dataiku to test for any changes in the table. So it basically was staring at the table. I was intrigued by how Dataiku was working. So Dataiku would be staring at these tables, these two back-end tables, waiting for things to be entered. And then the second they were entered, they would trigger on one side, the supplier side, it would trigger 30-something flows, and it would populate all these datas, all of these tables of data for all the defects and all the sub defects. And then once that would run, it would mark that report as completed. And then on the user and the UI, the user interface, it's out of topic, but you said you have ADHD in one of your streams of Free Code Camp. Do you have any tips for better concentration for coding? Yes, absolutely. Music. So, no, anything you guys want to talk about, please ask. So, all right, absolutely. So, this is what I've noticed with ADHD. It is, because I've tried to help other family members with this, because I'm getting better. But all right, think about a radio tuner. So right now, let's just assume that you're a lot younger than I am. So I didn't know what this was, and so basically, you're taking in every radio frequency right now, and your brain is trying to pay attention to all of it. Well, you can't. So what you have to do is you have to trick it into focusing. So before I was learning all of this, I actually would have 2 sets of music playing to overload my brain, to not allow it to focus on anything else other than what I wanted it to. So I actually had my Spotify playlist playing very loud, and then when it'd be unbelievably stressful, or I'd have a very complicated problem, I also was playing classical music. So I gave my brain so much to do that the only thing left was for it to concentrate on the tasks that I had at hand. And those are the things that I have, and it's just practice. I hate to say that, but it's just practice. But if you're in your 20s, it's going to be extremely hard. But the faster you can have it focus, and also drawing it back to what you're working on and being aware of your mind is wandering, that is probably I guess step 0 is realizing that your mind is wandering and pulling it back to hey, I need to be focused on this, because I call it conscious and subconscious. In our ADHD minds, our subconscious is extremely powerful in a positive and a negative way. Unbelievably powerful in solving problems. Like, I'm pretty sure, here, let me see if you relate. There are times where you have seen something and the answer just appears in your mind, right? Does that sound familiar? Well, that's a good example, a positive example of your subconscious doing things well. And then if it runs amok and reacts to things quickly and it's the wrong answer, and it should have been more patient, or it didn't process everything very well, then that's your subconscious running amok and is in charge. So, well, let's go ahead and go back to where we were. Hope that helped. All right. Let's see. What were we talking about? We were talking about, data IQ flows. And so it would run all of these data IQ flows, mark them complete. Then it would show up and the user could select that and go about. But every step, so it was a Python script with embedded SQL inside of it, because we needed to come up with a way to dynamically insert dates, either vendor numbers, and a variety of other variables. Had to take into account private brand, all sorts of information. But I figured I took it one problem at a time, and I went from there. So, all right, let's see. What is? Do you guys know about pointers? Let's see. Looks like everybody's dropped. I guess I bored everybody with the ADHD talk. Add automator. All right. Let's see, does this show up? And I'm in the process of moving a bunch of other things over to a new hard drive, and that is a challenge in and of itself. Let's see, anything of pertinence over here? Let's see, anybody jump back on? Let's see, anybody? I guess I haven't been on here in a while. Anybody jump back on? No. Well, Yeah, having to know what your problem is. So also, I know this is another cliche, attention to detail. So yesterday, I had both sides of the application not working, because the way the data IQ flows work is, if one of the flows dies, it won't complete, it won't finish. So what you have to do is you have to go and find the flow, because it was in a confined environment, and each of the flows would flow to an Azure table, and then the application would go and align with a individual ID and then go from there. So, all right. Like I was saying earlier in the week about teammates and larger team members trying to solve problems that were not a problem, or didn't understand the problem, because you can then get into an issue. I love the example of cereal and milk. Is, if you didn't measure it right the first time and you don't know the combination of milk to cereal, you can get into the habit of going back and forth, adding cereal, adding milk, adding cereal, adding milk, and you just have this problem instead of just starting over and starting at the beginning. So I found myself doing this same thing. I was trying to be done at the middle of the day, and both of the flows, the supplier side and the department side, both of them were crashing. And when you're looking at these things, and if you have a mind like mine, and not only ADHD but dyslexia, so things appear. So writing complex problems, great at. Finding the letter, the one letter that's wrong out of a soup of letters, not good at. So, all right. So I had to break this down, and I was getting frustrated, and I could not find these. And I spent a couple hours, and it was getting towards the end of the day. And I'm like, am I not going to get this fixed before I leave? And I'm going to be having to hand off it was working earlier in the day. And then all of these additions that I did, it was going to look, I was terrified it was going to look like I sabotaged the application. That's what I was terrified about. So the little voice in my head said, make sure, because these things all start to look alike, because I've named the tables and the workflows very similarly. So static value. So I was like, well, which one is it? Static value B. So I stopped and I said, all right. And because I kept clicking back and forth, and I was having to copy the code over into Notepad++, finding the exact row of data where it was failing, because since it was so Data IQ is run on, it's a Python based application on the back end. So that's why I was able, and I was utilized to bring in, and why I really got the job is because everybody knew that we were going from Alteryx to Data IQ. So we were going to need to have somebody on the team who could write Python. Well, ta-da! That's how I ended up getting the job. So, but I digress. So I took one step at a time. And so I made sure I had the right flow. Okay. And then I was assuming, and this is what'll get you every time. I was assuming that it was the new flow that I had built. Well, I had forgotten that there was another flow, a second flow that I had edited to handle some case statements for null values. All right. I think an ad is running again. So I don't know if that delays the stream or how that quite works. But all right. I'll keep talking. I think it's buffering, to be honest. So let me know in the chat if ads show up and that I'm buffered. All right. Okay. Let's see. So the root cause of the problem that I was finding, and I knew what it was going to be. I was copying and extending code a lot. So missed parentheses, missed commas, things like that. So I was trying to fix and find problems that I wasn't in the right I wasn't in the right place. It's like getting a map and trying to get, where you need to get to, but you don't know where you currently are. I remember I had that example. My kids were driving, and I said, "Well, where are we?" And they're like, "We don't know." And I go, "All right, do we know what road we're on?" And they're like, "Well, yeah." I said, "Okay. So how can we find out where we are on that road?" They're like, "I don't know. We're driving." And I can't remember if I figured this out or if my dad helped me figure it out. But as you're driving down a road, you need a secondary point. So you know where you are, your X or your Y. And all you need is a secondary point to find out your location. So wherever you cross a road, when you have a cross section, that's how you are. So you have to take the information around you to solve. Because this dawned on me a while ago. Whenever you have a riddle, whenever you're solving a riddle, all the information you have comes from the riddle, correct? So all the information is around you. You have to pay attention. So, all right. We have a couple people back on the stream. What type of things are you curious about that I've worked on, or something you're trying to work on and you're stuck? And we can chat about that. But I thought I'd have more to talk about work, but maybe I don't. Maybe I don't have as much. Maybe I need more examples. But I was thinking about, has everybody tried the reverse number triangle? Has everybody tried that one? I don't know how delayed the chat is in the stream. So it looks like it's at least maybe 30 seconds delayed. All right, we have, if this is right, we have 4 people streaming right now. Watching right now. I'm streaming. You're watching. Let's see. Does everybody understand the difference between a dynamic sliding window and a static sliding window? Because that's a good one. That's a good problem solving. Have you guys seen the problem that we did with the stadium seating? You think you did the number triangle, but not sure about the reverse. Ooh. Let me move this. Let me see. Hang on. Let me check something. All right. I do have it over here. I don't want to. Let me copy this. Paste here. That didn't copy exactly right. All right. This is the reason why I like this one. The number triangle is pretty good. The reverse number triangle. Oops, I need 3. There we go. All right. So the reason why I like this one so much is, wow, there is a big delay. The reason why I like this so much is because you have to handle this. So let's just stick with this. Let's see, range 1 plus row plus 1. I think that sound right. Print column, and doing this on the fly. I haven't done this in a while. Print. That right? Yeah. So there we go. So this is pretty, I mean, you just go through and you do this, blah, 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 blah. But the reason why I like this one so much is because you have to deal with this problem right here. And this is fantastic. And I have gotten one answer already in the in my DMs on Discord. Wow, my brain just went blank. But so, and I'm going to show you, this is so embarrassing, but I will show you my first attempt and how I did this way long time ago, probably 8 years ago, maybe 9, because I've now been learning Python for, it might be 12 years now. I forget. It's probably 11. I want to say I started learning when I was 36, so 47. So good math there. That's 11. But the way that I handled this was so ugly. Oops, that didn't move. Was so bad. Then just the other day when a teammate and I were going over this, and I was showing them this great example, and I pointed out. So here's the hint, and all of these things. There's a way that I really like to say this, and it's eluding me right now. But if you look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you look really closely as you're moving through this is no different. This is just a padding. I don't know if you've seen that term, and to get spaces so that you can dynamically set this up where everything is alignment. You're manually creating a padding right here. But if you look, oops, don't know why. But all of these are 5 spaces. So whenever you have a certain number of numbers, the remainder is the spaces. So that is your hint of how to solve this problem. Let's see. Yeah, I remember what was really scary at the end of, or in this week, was, so our team was designed. We had kind of like an admin. We had 3 program managers and 3 technical, more technical. I was focused on automation. I had one teammate. They were a very good storyteller, and the other one was basically professionally trained, went to school for Tableau and data visualization. So I was anything that had automation to it, anything that needed to be dynamically created. The neatest problem that I solved, other than all of the back end things for our application, was a query that I wrote that took data IQ and it triggered it on a certain day. And the way that I wrote the SQL, which I thought was very cool, it looked at the previous month every time. So the way that I wrote the query was, I figured out, because at first I was like, oh, I just need to take the max month. Duh, just take the max month. So it was a digit. Sorry, it was an integer. Then it dawned on me very quickly that after a year, it would have every single month to it. So that theory was gone. So these are the things about problem solving that I drive home that I think are unbelievably important. So that got thrown out the window, but I kept thinking about it and trying to solve what the problem was. And I was like, all right, so human brain, how am I deciding what month to look at? And I'm like, well, I'm looking at the calendar, so I'm aware of the calendar. So, okay, so how am I know that I'm looking at last month? All right, well, I have to know what this month is. Okay, well, I know what month to look on the calendar, and I look at the most current. So here's where I made this leap. I look at the most current month of the current year, and I went, there we go. So this is an example of how you use SQL to filter information. You can take information from a table and you filter it down, and then you rejoin it back. So it is the Venn diagram effect of when you use a join, you're only going to get the things that you have in common. And that was the big aha for me when I moved from Python to SQL. And then Visual Basic was, I mean, it's quirky, but I mean, it's just a programming language. Like, it's more similar to Python than SQL is to anything. But all right, I digress. So what I did is you take so this is what I loved about it. So it's the year 2024. So first I wrote a query. I had a subquery that would find the max year. So then after that, I did max year. Then I would do in that subquery, let's see, do we use a colon for doing reverse triangle? Oops. Okay, can you ask that again? So using a colon for doing reverse triangle? Yes, you will. Every time on a header statement, you have to end with a colon, or it won't know you're at the end. All right. So back to this, and I'm probably going to wrap things up because I think I need to keep moving around here. I think I see here's some things going. So all right. So what I did is I took a subquery and I found the max year. This year happens to be 2024. So then I took the max. So of those results, I took the max month. But I want to go and look back at the previous month. So actually it's max month minus 1. Now, here's where it gets interesting. And thank goodness when I designed this, because I can't believe that it's been this long, but it was at the beginning of last year when I started doing this. So I got put in responsible for our automation and rapid application development pretty early on into my time. So, all right. So here's where it gets fun. So subquery, then another subquery, but now this is where it gets interesting. So that would be your year, and this would be your month, except if month equaled let's see. Except if month equaled 1. Because this actually happened to me, and it took me probably half an hour to realize why everything was failing. Because if you have 1 minus 1, you get 0. There is no month 0. So then I had to do a case statement for if it was 1, then 12 and year minus 1, and then else blah 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 blah. So basically, do this to get your month and your year, which then I applied that in that subquery inside of a with a join statement, and then I filtered out, and it would only have the previous months of information, and then I would begin doing all of my calculations, finding my purchase orders, finding all the right documentation, blah, 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 and then follow all the rules. But I had to do this first to automate it, because it was a very painstaking and manual process. But a person, so I had dynamic dates, then I had dynamic documents, and then dynamic purchase orders or POs. So, all right. Unfinished. You have any questions before I drop? Let's see how delayed that is. That's pretty delayed. So I think that I got an ad roll about to happen. So I'll try to let this get caught back up. We haven't had a ton, but for a live stream that I haven't done in a while, I think this is halfway decent. And I'm going to start doing some LinkedIn videos. I keep saying that I'm going to be doing that, but I need to get some fake data around, because I don't need to accidentally use I don't even know if well, I should be allowed to be talking about this. All right, can you show how to make reverse triangle? Hang on. Well, that's part of the exercise. What part are you stuck on? Put in chat what you have. So, are you on the Discord server? Unfinished. Are you on the Discord server? So, I thought I saw something else. Oh, that's the wind blowing. You are. Have you sent me have you DM'd me? Because I want to, because this is what's so important. This is what's vital to this. Because when you read this makes sense. I get it, because I was here at the beginning of my. You just joined? Okay, let's see. Why isn't this? All right. Move this over here. Why isn't this clearing? Mark is red. New member, general chat. I think my son might be right. I think I may need to get yet another monitor, because I've gotten really spoiled with 2. All right. Because what I want to do is I want to help you with this, but I do not want to. I just want to help you enough where you can solve the problem yourself, because it is, I know this is cliche, but when you're going through and you're solving these, your subconscious is learning something and it's becoming stronger. So there's a part of the brain, and I've actually forgotten this, but it's very interesting. It actually grows. There's not very many sections of the brain that do this, from what I understand. But doing challenging things and doing hard things, it actually, that part of the brain, the more you do, it's I don't think it controls anything to do with the IQ, but just getting through challenging things. So doing things that are hard and uncomfortable, that part of the brain, it just gets going and it just gets moving, and it gets better and better and stronger. I tried to make A equal to blank space in every column, or COL. The blank will decrease, but it didn't work out because it is a string. Okay. Did you get the error operand, string and int, something like that? I think you might be back. I'm trying. I think I have that error somewhere. I don't want to scroll too much because I don't know where the answer is. The answer is somewhere here. I tried A minus. Oh, decrement. Yeah, that's A minus equals 1, right? So you tried A decrement by 1. Okay. DM me what you have, and I'll look at it. I'm trying to look. You have joined the server? Because I do not. When did you join the server? Alright. I got another ad. How many ads are showing up, guys? I am so sorry. I'll give you a hint. Because we have this. So we just need to move. So here's a perfect example of what is our problem. So we need spaces in front of this. So this is a order of operations and moving things around. So this is the row. Oops. We'll do this. Row. So this is, I guess, a little bit like SQL in this fashion. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is our rows, and this is handling our column. So the first time through, we get a 1, and it happened to come out here. But before this, I need some spaces. So before this, so before this, I need something. So I need something here. Now, what is that something that I need? I need spaces. I need spaces that... Hello. All right. Oh, unfinished. Did you drop? So, think on this. And I gave you another good hint. I think this is still showing. I think I got this sized right. Okay. So, oh, okay. All right. Okay. Give you a hint. Have you seen... put in the error, because I want to make sure decreasing it is. All right. So you've gotten this, right? You can do multiply, which this is... People don't... There's some program purists that do not like that you can multiply. And the more that I've learned, the more that I get. There you go. So we need to do some arithmetic here for here, maybe. Is that what your O might be? Because this becomes invaluable if you figure this out on your own. And it just gets locked away. And then that part of your brain just begins to expand and get stronger. And then you're going to be like one of my teammates that goes, oh yeah, okay, we'll do it. I'm like, do you have any idea how we're going to do this? He goes, I have no idea how we're going to do it. But we've always figured it out up until now. And I go, okay. And I was on that journey. I wasn't there yet. But I mean, I do have to say that I had a very supportive team. And I don't think there was any... I mean, we had some software limitations. But other than that, we came up with some pretty cool workarounds. But we solved dilemmas because we were off books, but we were just right on the edge of having to be really super on some compliance issues with security and things like that. But we also build our very advanced tools that we were making exe files and building applications so they couldn't be hacked. Because my boss showed me that you could hack a Excel VB.NET script. It was I was highly impressed. I was highly impressed with that. All right, unfinished. I'm probably going to drop here in a minute. Were you able to get that to work? Because this is it, and it goes there to handle this. So, all right. I hope that helps. Make sure, if you are new here, make sure you're joining the Discord server. Asking any questions. Because we're probably going to do the pyramid next. If you haven't seen this one, 3, 2, 1, and then 4, 3, 2, 1. This is another good one because you have to think about however you want to think about it, this side or this side. So all these are good thought exercises because that's all you're going to have if you end up with a job like this, that somebody's going to bring you something and they're going to have an idea and they're going to be close to it, but it's not going to be exactly right. And they're like, here. But make sure your base is good and well and thought out. That is vital to all of this. But all right, unfinished. I hope that helped. Hope everybody has a good rest of their day, and if it's nighttime, hope you have a good night and get some sleep, and we'll probably maybe pick back up on one of these maybe tomorrow, and I have a lot more time on my hands. I hope this lighting ended up being good. I got the sun coming up right now, and it's about to cause little dots on my face. Let's see. This is a pyramid. This is pyramid is a math thing, isn't it? I don't remember what it's called. I don't quite know. It's not really. This isn't math. Now, if you want to, I can't remember if we talked about it. Now, you want to talk about math is finding out if making a circle and finding out if a hit point is inside of that circle. ASF, probably going to drop here in a minute, but you can go back and watch the rest of the previous part of the stream. We're just going through some problems, talked about work, talked about the way it finished up. Hopefully going to be on again tomorrow, but sorry, my brain just ran. I was trying to think of give me some advice for AI. What do you want to know about AI? I mean, how far along are you in your machine learning? Because mine is really, really infinitesimally small. I mean, I'm still working on vectors, and I'm trying to get better at that. I know how the decision boundary is deduced, but I cannot draw the linear, or especially the let's see, what time will you start tomorrow stream? Probably about the same time. So what time is it where you are, Unfinished? Let's see how long of a delay that is. We may need to do this in, I almost said GitHub, but have the chat be in Discord, so it can be more timely. Today's time was good? Okay. I was able to get up and do some things and go from there, because it is it's 8:50 in my time right now, and the lighting is good for the way that I have it set up. So yeah, we can do that again, because this has almost been an hour. So it says it's 58-minute stream, and think of some questions, and hopefully you're able to solve that. But yeah, I like doing these things, and I'm going to try to then pull some clips from these, because I know I need to start making some shorts and going from there. And especially, I am going to the first year of college, and it gives me some advice or roadmap for only AI course. I mean, you need to, let's see. Like I said, I'm still at the beginning of my machine learning path. I mean, you need to understand SVMs, how they're working in the background. That's the vector. Learning how the boundaries are. I mean, 2-dimensionally, 3-dimensionally. Just the basics. Don't try to rush anything. And I can't say enough problem solving. I mean, when we were finishing up 2 weeks ago, and just having my application just be ripped apart, and the calculations and being challenged on everything, ended up being a few of my calculations were wrong. But what I was bewildered by is how long it took for them to articulate what they were saying was wrong. It was pretty much embarrassing. So I know I'm getting into the weeds, but problem solving. I can't say that enough till I'm blue in the face, because it is vital. If you can't, like this right here. I mean, I was just talking about this earlier. If I was not smart enough to realize what my problem was, if I hadn't been solving this problem in January, if I would have been given this task in February, it would have passed, and I would not have had a problem until it failed 11 months later. I only looked really smart because it was January. But excuse me. Make sure you're fixing a problem that is a problem. I can't say that enough. Because you will go down a rabbit hole and begin, because you're going to find a problem. If you haven't heard this saying, this is a good one. If all you know how to use is a hammer, everything you see will look like a nail. And what that is it's a fancy way to say that you're just going to try to solve the same problem the same way every single time. And it's vital for you to, and that was actually one thing that, root cause analysis. That was actually one thing that actually helped me get this job, was identifying and fixing real problems. The Pareto effect. What is causing a majority of your problem? What is the root cause of this problem? And then setting out an action plan and fixing that problem. Info AI course. I will both learn deep learning and machine learning. Yes or no? Okay, thanks for the info. And only AI course I will be yes or no. Well, I mean, they're both segments of it. I mean, neural net. I mean, the AI. I mean, if you think about it, that's basically the end user of the application. I mean, the training data set. I mean, the data sets are important. I mean, let's just go back to square one. I mean, what information, what AI are you trying to build? What problem are you trying to solve? I mean, how are you going to train it? What are you going to model it upon? Things like that. But what am I really trying to fix? And how am I going to go in the path, and how am I going to achieve that? And how am I going to validate? That's another thing that in this job, validation. How are you going to prove that what you have is right? Whoo! That's a humdinger. Moving through development stage and production environments. So you got to do it 3 times. Now here's the kicker. I will bet you anything. So let's bring in the CrowdStrike, the real life. I will bet you anything that test worked in stage and it failed in production, right? So that means the code bases in stage and in production are not the same. And I've experienced that some where I would have validation that I would have to tweak when I would go from stage to production to see if everything was working. So, all right, I'm a little over where I wanted to go. I got to keep moving today. I got plenty of stuff to do. Got to finish working on my resume, but it has actually been an awesome morning. Thank you everybody for joining Unfinished. Thanks for hanging out with me. SF, thanks for joining here at the end. Hope to see everybody tomorrow. Please make sure you join the Discord server so maybe we can have a better chat, more timely chat, because they were up in chat, but I think it was delayed. But Unfinished, hope you can get this finished. Ha ha ha, no pun intended. I'm asking whether in AI course I will learn. I don't know the course design. I have no idea, because if you think about it, artificial intelligence is the end result. You need to learn all of these things way before the AI, the end product. But more than likely, you'll be starting out with machine learning to start there, and just the vector process, the actual decisions of the support vector machines, and you can have a whole course on those alone, on the support vector machine. So all right, somebody, let's see, somebody join. Unfinished. Do you go by a different name on Discord? You don't have to say it, but did you just send me a friend request on Discord? Because I want to make sure that's you. But all right, I'm probably gonna drop here in a second. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I've seen entire courses just on support vector machines. Just send me a screenshot. All right, cool. All right, there we go. Interesting. All right. Okay, guys. Why? Got it. Boom. Sorry, guys. Okay. All right, I'm going to drop now. I hope everybody's doing well. Hope you guys got something out of this, and we'll just check back in tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.